Today is July 30th, 2014, and we are interviewing Jerry Roush at the Adams County Courthouse in Quincy, Illinois. Mr. Roush is 70 years old, having been born on July 24th of 1944. My name is Laura Keck, and I'll be the interviewer. Mr. Roush, can you tell us where and when you were born?
I was born in Quincy, Illinois. There at the St. Mary's Hospital, 1944.
And who were your parents and what were their occupations?
I got Charlie and Betty Roush. Dad was a hired hand on a farm and a truck driver. And Mom was a stay-at-home mom until her later years, and then she became a nurse.
And where was she a nurse at?
Blessing Hospital.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes.
Who are they?
I got an older brother. He's 15 months older than me. His name is Don, and he was in the Navy. And then I had a younger brother that was killed when he was 13 years old. His name was Mark.
3 boys, huh?
3 boys.
What were you doing before you entered the service?
Before I entered the service, when I joined the Guard, I was actually working on a farm and working there. But when we got activated, I was working at the Mormon Manufacturing Company.
And you said you joined the National Guard. When did you join the National Guard?
It was in October of '64.
And when did you become activated?
It was in May of '68.
Did you enlist or were you drafted?
When I joined the Guard, I enlisted.
And what was the highest rank that you received?
E4, Specialist E4.
Why did you choose to join the National Guard or the Army?
Well, a couple reasons. I had a lot of friends I ran around with that were in it, and they was telling me about it. And I think I was around 20 years old at that time, and the draft was in effect, and I didn't feel like being in the service for 2 or 3 years. I thought, well, this sounds like a good deal, so I joined up and never been sorry that I did. So
that's good. What happened when you departed for training camp in your early days of the training? Can you tell us about that?
The one at Fort Carson, or when I took my basic training?
Let's talk about both. What happened with your basic training?
Basic training took down at Fort Knox, Kentucky. And there's 3 hills down there that you get to know very well. Heartbreak, misery, and agony. So they were kind of steep and long, and if you didn't march down the correct way, where you marched backed up, you did it again, so. But Fort Knox was an interesting place, and of course that's where all the gold reserve is and everything. And I was down there end of April just to see how things has changed, and all the old barracks that we was in are tore down, and they got a huge building there now. But there's a church right on the corner, real close to where my barracks was. And that church is still there, and so I went in and seen that and talked to the minister and everything. So, but yeah, Fort Knox was a good place.
And what about Fort Carson?
Fort Carson, we left there in May from Quincy. We had an advance party that went out a few days earlier. They drove some vehicles out, but the main body, we hopped on a train. And we went to Galesburg, and then from Galesburg we went west and traveled all night, and we stopped in, arrived there in Denver. Then they put us on buses and took us down to Fort Carson, Colorado.
Do you recall the instructors you had?
My basic training sergeant was Sergeant Arredondo. I think he was from Puerto Rico. But other than that, I can't remember.
Do you recall what they were like? How they treated you?
Sergeant Arredondo treated us very well. He we'd mess up, he'd laugh at us and make us do push-ups, but he treated us very well. But the first sergeant, he was a different story. You didn't look cross-eyed at him. So,
Did you receive any specialized training?
I was a cook, or that was my MOS. I did do that, but when I got in Vietnam, I drove a truck for several months, and then they put me back in the mess hall again and everything.
How did you adapt to the military life, the physical regimen, the barracks, the food, and the social life?
I really didn't have any problem. You knew you had to do it, and you just did it. You were restricted on some things, and if you wanted to leave the base, you had to have permission and sign out. But I never really had any problems adjusting to it whatsoever.
Where did you serve?
I served in Chulai, Vietnam.
I'm sorry, where?
Chulai, Chulai. So
And that's 2 words, correct?
yes,
What are some of your memories from July?
oh my. There's a lot of them. I can remember when we landed there. Now, we took a C-141 over. We left Colorado Springs, flew to California to Wake Island, and then from there to Danang. And I could vividly remember when it was getting ready to land in Danang. They come out on the radio in the plane. They said it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was like 97 degrees out. And so we landed, and the back of the airplane opened up, and there's a ramp that goes down. And so I was one of the first ones off of it, and you knew it was hot. And you got almost into that ramp, the heat hit you and almost knocked you down. And then the second thing was the smell. Just, almost at the same time. And you just automatically just started sweating immediately. Then we marched away from the airplane, and there was stacks and stacks of castings waiting on the tarmac to go home. And we was pretty quiet when we marched by them.
Mm-hmm.
You can imagine what was going through everybody's mind. But they were stacks and stacks of castings getting ready to come home. So
That was on your first day getting there.
Yep. That's the first thing that happened.
Were you on the front lines when you were there?
No, not speak, but where was the front line in Vietnam? So no, we were at the might call a huge supply base, quite large, and it was difficult. I remember I was in Danang a couple of days. They flew us down to Chulai, which is right on the coast of Vietnam, about 60 miles south of Danang. And we landed there, and they put us on trucks to take us to where we was going to stay at. And I remember going out of the gate of the airport, and here was this soldier. He was in a truck all by himself in back, and he looked at us and he said, "Short, short, short." What did he say? I didn't know what he was talking about. But what that meant, short was you're getting close to going home. And the only guy that could holler that was the shortest guy in that company. And then he'd go home, and then the next guy that was getting close to come home. So, but yeah, you want it to be short, you know. So we went to the company area where we were staying. Now, either the first or second night, we got hit, and it was very, very close, very close. And these rockets come in and threw stuff everywhere, and that's changed this. We realized that we were going to have to stick together and look out for each other if we was going to get out of there alive. And so that was the changing point. After that, we buckled down, and we didn't have a big bunker or anything to get into really. And so we built a nice heavy duty big bumper. That was the first thing that we did. And we all pitched in, you know, in evenings or when we was off duty to build that. And we had it done pretty quick.
How long did it take you?
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe a couple weeks or something, you know. But being in the guard and we was probably a little bit older than regular Army units over there. We was all in our 20s, maybe mid-20s. And we had carpenters and refrigeration men and had skills. And we put that to use. And so we had carpenters and guys could drive bulldozers and everything. And so we put that to use to, you know, we were skilled. So.
What kind of friendships did you develop while you were over there?
Oh, we were all very close. In the mess hall, we would hire Vietnamese people to do KP work and everything. But we had an interpreter, Vietnamese boy, about 15 years old. Name was Timmy. And he was a good kid. And we really liked him and liked him a lot. And some nights he would stay on base with us, sleep in the barracks with us and everything, which was not legal or supposed to do that, but we would do it, you know. But we really looked after him and took care of him. Nice kid, and we had to leave him behind and everything. But he was 15, going to be 16, or maybe he did turn 16 while we was there. But he was a good kid. So.
What did you do to stay in touch with your family and friends back home?
Letters, mostly letters. Wife and I, we wrote pretty well every day. Some of the guys had tape recorders where they could tape letters, you know, and they would send that back and forth. I did that a few times. You could call home, but it was difficult to do. You might have to wait in line for 10 or 12 hours to use the phone, and then you use the phone to call to the States, and then you get a hold of a ham operator, then they would call whoever you wanted to talk to, and then when they get who you want to talk to online, then you'd say something, and you say over, and then they would hear it, and then they'd say something, say over, and then they'd hear it. And that's the way it was. And I just did it a couple of times. It was too hard. It was just too hard, so I didn't do it much. And a lot of other guys didn't do it a whole lot either. But some try to do it every 2 or 3 weeks, you know. But it was too difficult.
What did you do for recreation when you weren't?
Oh, we entertained ourselves. There was always some prank going on. We go to USO shows. It seemed like long as there, we would have more of them. I was very blessed. Bob Hope came there, and he put on a Christmas program for us. And that was a great joy. And I don't know, there must have been 20,000 troops there to see that at least. And it was great to see him and Ann Margaret and oh, what was it? There was a group of girls too that danced, but anyway, it was really neat to see that. It was pretty cool.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
No, I got one medal for service medal, but there's other medals that I didn't realize that qualified for, and I'm working on that now. I just found that out this past weekend. So
these other ones that you're hoping to receive.
yeah.
Where were you at when the war ended? Did you stay till the end of the conflict, or?
No. We came home in August of '69, and that was the beginning of the troops coming home. That was the very beginning of scaling down the war and everything.
How did you get home?
We flew on a C-141, the same aircraft. It was a military aircraft. A lot of them went over in regular civilian type aircraft, but we flew military. And the seats in this thing were facing to the back of the airplane, not to the front. And there's only a couple windows in it, so if you wanted to look out, you'd have to get up out of your seat, and the window was kind of down low, and you'd have to been way over if you wanted to see out. One thing I noticed was going over, everybody's really quiet, and everybody was in their own thoughts. Then coming home, I thought, well, there'd be more talking and stuff going on, but it was just as quiet. It was really quiet. But as we approached the United States, we left Chula, went to Okinawa, and then Alaska. And as we approached the United States, we knew it was getting close to Alaska. And it's extremely quiet. And all of a sudden, the pilot said that you had just crossed, the air boundaries of the United States. Welcome home. And he must have been holding onto that airplane because it just exploded. With great joy.
How many guys were there on the?
I'm not sure how many were on that particular airplane. They wouldn't hold a lot of men, probably maybe 100, 110, something like that.
Everyone was cheering.
Yep.
How were you received by your family and the community?
Oh, we were very welcome when we got home. They had a parade downtown Main Street and everything. It was very welcome.
That was here in Quincy.
Mm-hmm.
How did you readjust to civilian life?
There was some adjustment to do. As you went from one extreme to the other, and there was some adjustment to do. I would wake up in the middle of the night if I heard a noise. I was surprised to see how sensitive we had become to certain sounds. And I would have dreams. There's one particular dream that I had for years, and it was like I couldn't get home. They wouldn't take us back home. We was stuck there, and we couldn't get back home. So I had that dream for a long time. So.
Have you remained in contact with or reunited with any of your fellow veterans?
Oh yeah.
And are you a member of any veterans organizations?
No, I'm not.
What kinds of things have you done with your life since separating from the military?
I come home and I worked at Mormon's for a couple months, and then I got a job at a pattern shop here in town, and I became a pattern maker the rest of my life. And in '98, I had an opportunity to go on a mission trip to Africa, and I got involved with that. And I've been to Africa like 11 times now.
Boy.
And me and a couple of buddies of mine, we developed a valve system for water pumps over there. And there's thousands of them in use over there now, and they can't get enough of them because it works so well and it's very simple to make and everything. So help thousands and thousands of people get safe drinking water in Africa. Something that bothered me was when I was over there, you want to help the people and you weren't allowed to. And you really couldn't, and that bothered me. And then 30 years later, this opportunity came up for mission work in Africa, and I went, and that solved that empty feeling of not being able to help people. So I got a lot of friends in Africa.
While you were over there, did you do or have anything special you did for good luck?
No, not really. Just my faith.
Did you have plenty of supplies while you were over there?
We had enough, not everything we wanted. And if we couldn't find something, we scrounged for it or traded for it. And if you had a chunk of ice that was like gold, and you could trade a chunk of ice for beer, or I think we traded a case of beer for a Jeep one time or something. So, but if you had ice, you could put in there and get anything you wanted, because that's what they cool the drinks with and everything. So ice was like gold. I mean, if you had access to ice, you had it made. So.
What was the food like?
Well, you had to like roast beef. We had roast beef almost every day, and we try to fix it different ways. We slice it up and call it chulai steak, or something like that. Just change the name so that everybody thought it was something different, but it wasn't the same stuff. But
did it work?
No. There'd be guys come in the mess hall and see you have roast beef again, and they just throw their plate down and just cuss and walk out mad, because you had the same thing. But I wouldn't eat roast beef for a long time, and even today, if I got a choice between roast beef and something else, I usually take something else. Every once in a while, I'll eat it, but you just got sick of it. You just got sick of roast beef.
What kinds of things did you do when you were on leave while you were over there?
I took R&R to Hawaii and met my wife, and that was in June. And if I had to do that over again, I wouldn't have done it because it was just too hard to leave her and come back. It was just too hard. Got there, and what was it, Fort DeRusi they took us to meet with their wives, and we had to walk down this hallway, and they had the wives lined up on each side, and you had to walk down the middle. And I was walking down there, and pretty soon somebody grabbed me, and I didn't see who it was or where she came from. Who are you? What are you? Oh, it's you, my wife. But yeah, that was a cool time. It was a cool time.
So how long had it been since you'd seen her at that point?
It would have been 7 or 8 months. We left. I hadn't seen her since August of '68, and that was June of '69.
And did you have kids at that point?
No, no, we just newly married.
When the day that your service ended, we kind of talked about that. Where were you? Were you in July?
Yeah, there. We flew off, and you kind of, over and stretched and see it below you as you took off, and everybody clapped. So.
What did you do when you first got back?
I probably took a week off before I went back to work. you know, spent some time with my parents and my wife and brother and friends and everything. But it just, you know, there was a vacuum there. There really was. You know, you go to this turmoil, to peace. What do I do now? You know, getting used to different foods again, indoor plumbing, a bath, no rats, uh, driving a vehicle again. Uh, there's a lot of things that you had to adjust back to, you know, that were different. Air conditioning, you know, clean sheets, no sand in your bed, um, you know, carpet to walk on, you know, running water, something cold to drink, a lot of little things like that.
How do you think your military experiences affected your life?
In various ways. I think when we got back, we was pretty quiet about it. Some guys were bitters. Some guys just shied away that you was even in the service. But that's changed in the last 5 years, I think, as we got older. Guys are talking more about it now. Realize that it was an honorable thing to do. That it was something special. And you can really see that when we get together. And we're brothers. We really are. So.
What are some of the life lessons you learned?
Discipline. Never ever give up. It increases your Christian faith. We're blessed here in America, and I know from Africa and Vietnam, we are so blessed. So blessed, you can't believe it. Just simple things like water, running water, you know, smooth roads to drive on, and opportunities. That's the big thing, especially in Africa, is lack of opportunities. There's very few opportunities. Here, you have opportunities. And if you don't have opportunities, no matter how much education you have or anything, if you don't have that, there's nothing you can do. So you have to have this opportunities, and we have that in this country. We can be very, very blessed with that.
How do you think your military service has impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
Avoid it however possible. The very, very last resort. Extreme last resort. Avoid it.
And what would you tell future generations who may watch this interview?
Seek peace.
Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to add to the interview, or anything you want to show on the video?
The video shows mostly fun times, how we entertain ourselves, and we laugh at each other when we see it now. You see the countryside, or vehicles you drove, or you see the bunker, the perimeter. It all brings back memories, vivid memories and everything. Just, you know, and not to be forgotten. That's very important, not to be forgotten. So.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.